Hi, so long time no see everybody, so welcome back. It's been a little while. Things got really crazy kind of with work and everything else. However, unfortunately I was made redundant at the start of December, so I decided to relaunch my channel. So things have changed quite a bit for me. So the channel now, it's rebranded Fountain Pens and TNs. So there will still be some planning content, although it is more journaling really. I don't necessarily plan as such so much anymore as journal. The only planning really is just putting in appointments and the odd bits and pieces. But kind of the start of last year probably, I fell into a fountain pen rabbit hole. And that's completely where my stationery love has kind of taken me. So I thought I'd pop back and I'd go through my current fountain pen collection. There's quite a mix. I've got a couple of pens that I've paid a little bit more for. No crazy high-end ones, because I can't afford kind of like the likes of the Homo sapiens kind of £1,000 at a time kind of pens. However, a lot of these are branded ones, kind of entry-level pens, and there's quite a lot of the Chinese type Jinhao ones as well, which are really affordable fountain pens, and honestly they write amazingly. There's one in particular that I'll show you, and it's blown my mind recently. So yeah, so I thought I'd go through my collection as a welcome back, just show you the bits and pieces that I've got and pens, and if you're interested, yeah, jump on, join me for the ride. And I'll be moving forward kind of like, this is a full show of my current collection, then I will be doing currently inked, although I do keep them all inked pretty much a lot of the time, and I know that's really naughty, but most of them are inked because I do use them all fairly regularly. I'll use a different coloured ink every day, or even 2 or 3 for different things depending on what I'm writing. But I'll be going through my journal. I've started a journaling Patreon as well that you can get involved with if you want to, which you can come along and join us. It's a brilliant new little community, and it has lots of prompts and monthly challenges, but I'll go in more into that in a different video when I go through my journal and kind of show you how I'm using that and how the prompts can work. But yeah, so if you're interested at all, come along, and yeah, I'll go through my collection to start with. So let me pop this to one side. Just don't want to be looking at the box continually. So the first thing I'll start with is my Jinhaos. Now, I had a Jinhao 82 that was probably one of my first. Let me get the right. So yeah, they're all in here, and I've got a couple of others as well. So I think this was the first one that I had. So I bought this from the wonderful Desi at Cute Stickers Only. So let me just bring you in slightly for these so you can see them a little bit better. There we go. I think that's got everything in. So this is the sparkly coffee, and I bought this just because I thought I like the look of it, and it was one of these kind of pens that kind of started everything off, to be fair. So I'd had a couple in my Gretel Creates Advent, and I'd kind of struggled with them a little bit, but I stuck with it and bought some inks, and that was it. I was well and truly down that rabbit hole, and it's just kind of snowballed since then. So yeah, these are my Jinhao 82s. Now these are a lovely kind of they are a Chinese pen. The quality on these is insane, and what is really nice as well is, let me just show you the nib here. It's coming a little bit closer. Oops, wrong way. And see if you can see. I mean, the nibs are really pretty. So these tend to come, let me just show you over here. These tend to come with a fine or an extra fine, but I really actually like these with a medium nib. So if you go onto kind of Temu, AliExpress, mainly AliExpress really, you can buy, and on Amazon, but they cost a little bit more on Amazon. Let me just come out a little bit more. There we go, so you can see the pen fully. There we go. So yeah, you can buy the nibs and they come out really easy. So literally all you do is you grab the nib. I'm probably going to get an inky finger, and you just turn, and the nib, oh, I won't get into the pen. So just turn there, and the nibs can just be swapped over. It's so simple, and it's really nice because you can buy the different sized ones. And it's going to call me a liar now and not come out properly. It's because I've got the converter in there and it's attached to the converter, it doesn't want to come out. So here we go. Let me show you properly. You see, I've got the converter in, so let me pop the converter out. There we go, and then the nib will come out. So the full nib units on these are swappable, so it's so easy. Look at that, I knew it was going to happen. It's so easy just to swap them out for different sizes, which means you can get a real proper variety with these pens. Also, people like to frankenpen these as well, because all of the different bits you can swap in and out. They come with converters as well generally, and depending where you get them from, they're usually around between the £8 to £12 mark per pen. And you can get them a hell of a lot cheaper than that as well if you want to buy them on Temu and AliExpress, and they are just as good from there as anywhere else. But if you want to try your first one and you want to get from, like, you know, a good UK buyer, Cute Stickers Only will just do these, and she does them in all different colours. Yeah, and you can get nice inky fingers as well. So I have actually two in that colourway. So yeah, these are all different just colourways. So there's just, as you can see, there's a variety. These ends come off and these ends come off, and you can swap them around and make all different kind of colour variations. So yeah, I've got the green, I've got black, there's the coffee, the blue, green, the clear one, the demonstrator. This is quite nice. You can see what colour ink and that is in there. Another coffee, and of course there's some paler colours as well. So in addition to those, I've got another couple over here. These are ones that I use, are currently inked up with inks that I love. So this is a copy of, so the other thing about these, which I forgot to mention, they are actually a complete dupe of the Sailor Pro Gear Slim, which I have got an original. And I have to say, I do prefer the Jinhaos, and I know that's awful. And you know, Sailor are really good pens, but I really do like these. But this is a copy of the Nut, which is one of my favourites of the colourways. It's kind of like a grey, so it's called Nut, I believe, in the Pro Gear. And this is a Taro Purple, which I just adore as well. So actually, there's space, so we'll pop them in there. So this one is actually an original. This is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. So this was £130, and that was on an offer with a bottle of ink as well. So I'll show you the nib. The difference with these is these do have gold nibs. So it looks silver, but it is made of gold, and it's just obviously plated in the silver. So Pro Gear Slims are renowned for their kind of feedback, it's called, and they are quite, not scratchy, but you can feel kind of like, as you're writing with it, you know you're writing. It's almost like writing with a pencil, kind of, in a way. And this, I believe, is a fine. I prefer these. They're a smoother write, but I know some people really like the feedback that you get from these. Not my most favourite, but I don't hate it either. I use this inked up with the ink that came with it, which is a perfect match for the blue. The reason this doesn't get used so much mainly is because it is blue, and I'm not the biggest fan of a blue ink, but it is there if I do want to use it. So that stays in there in my Jinhaos, just as a comparison, really. So that's those. So I do have some more Jinhaos in different models. Oh, so hang on, just trying to get this back in the box. So I also have these. I'll show you both of these. So these are also a dupe. So most of the Jinhao pens are dupes of higher end pens. Some of them are absolutely excellent and amazing dupes. Others not quite so good. The Jinhao 82, absolute complete dupe of the Pro Gear Slim. Now these two are called Jinhao 100s, and I think these are absolutely beautiful pens. I mean, just look. I'm not sure if they're acrylic or resin. I think they might actually be resin, but the actual colourway of them I just think is gorgeous. Now this is also a dupe of another pen. I can't remember off the top of my head what the brand is, but I know it's called the Century. It may be a platinum, but I'm not 100% sure, so just show you the nibs again. So I have medium nibs on both of these, so there you go. They are gorgeous. So this one is called Seagrass, and this obviously is just the pink, the quartz. Now I've got quite a dark ink in here, so as you'll see from the barrel, it is quite transparent there, and you can see the ink inside. And I don't really have any pink inks because I do like to try and match my pens with an ink. Just come out a little bit, sorry. So there we go, that's better. But I do have a dark kind of sparkly black that's in here. So these have had a little bit of an issue with a bit of a hard start. Sometimes they take a little bit longer just to get going if I haven't used them for a couple of days, but that's totally fine. You know, these pens are, you know, relatively cheap. I think these were both less than about, they were about £6 or £7, I think, again on AliExpress, so can't really complain if it just takes a little bit longer for them to get going. I don't mind. I just have a separate little notebook and I just wriggle and squiggle on there, or I give them, you know, I just prime them by squirting a little bit of ink out of the converter just to get them going. So those are my Jinhao 100s. So let me think. There's another Jinhao. So this is a more recent one that I've bought. So this is the X159. So this is allegedly a dupe of a Mont Blanc 149 or the 146. I'm never quite sure which one it is. So it's a really lovely pen. It's beautiful. It writes lovely. Again, the nibs are all very similar with width, but it is really pretty. This one is a much girthier pen, so yeah, this one's a much chunkier one, and that's in the coffee colourway. Again, like I say, it's a dupe of a really high-end pen, but I like it. I don't use it a load. It's not one of my absolute favourites. I'll go through which of my favourites as we hit them, but it's a nice one to have. I'm quite happy with that. So let me think. So moving on to sort of different Chinese pens. So I also have these. So these are Hangdians. So it's kind of another Chinese manufacturer, very similar to Jinhao. These are actually both metal pens. They're really quite heavy. This one in particular is beautiful. Now these, I've never had any problems with any hard starts. They tend to write straight off the bat, even if they haven't been used for a while. Absolutely lovely pens these are. These are about £17.99. You can get them on Amazon. Again, Temu and AliExpress do them cheaper, but I've just bought these. These are both from Amazon because they had the colourways I want. I can't remember what this one's called. It's some kind of like kind of cream. This they do in like a blue and a green, and I think there's a yellow on the barrel. And then this one is the Black Forest, which is just beautiful, very sleek black, and it has the black nib as well, which I absolutely love a black nib. And I have to say, the few pens I've got with black nibs, for some reason they just seem to write amazingly. I don't know if it's something to do with what's used on the tipping material and to get the nib black. I have no idea, but all my black nibs just seem to be just absolutely gorgeous. So the ink, I've got different inks in all of these. I'll go through some writing samples, and I'll do some different videos of what I've got them inked with. But as I say, I do try and be matchy. This one not so much. This has actually got an ink in it that's called Forest Gatto, which was in the Diamine Advent this year. It's a scented ink, but it is kind of very much a plum, kind of grape kind of colour, which, because it's the Black Forest pen, I thought that would work quite well with those. That's the only reason. And you know, I've got black ink in other pens. So that's pretty much it. Hold on. So the next ones I'll show you. So let me just dig this one out. So I have a couple of these. Now these are a dupe of the Pilot Capless, or the Pilot Vanishing Point. So this one is the Marjan A1. Now these are retractable fountain pens, and they are absolutely beautiful to use. I absolutely adore them. So I have this one. And then this is the Jinhao version. So this is the Jinhao 10. So this again is a complete dupe of the Capless. Now, I recently bought, because it came up at a bargain price, the genuine Pilot Capless in the matte black. Now the only difference is a couple of little bits. I am going to do a video actually comparing them all. I haven't got my Capless to hand at the moment, unfortunately. The clip there is slightly different on the Pilot, but this writes amazing. The Capless is actually, it is an extra fine, so you just take that into account. But the Capless is actually quite scratchy, and I don't mean just feedback, I mean it is quite scratchy. It might be that the nib needs a bit of work, or you know, needs softening a little bit. The Capless does have a gold nib. The more I'm kind of getting different pens, I'm finding that the modern pens with gold nibs aren't my favourite. I actually prefer steel, which I know some people will not agree with that at all. My few vintage pens that I've got that have got gold nibs, I love them. They just seem to be completely different to the more modern ones. Whether I've just been unlucky or chosen the wrong pens, I don't know, we'll see. But this at the minute is one of my favourites, so I absolutely adore this. This was less than £10. This came from again, I think AliExpress or Temu. I do buy pens from all over. I try to buy the higher end ones from, you know, the smaller kind of, you know, independent kind of pen shops. But these ones, obviously the Chinese ones, are easier to buy kind of online. Again, these you can get these on Amazon. I actually have got another colourway coming today from Amazon, and they're roughly around the £20 mark on Amazon, but sometimes you can get them cheaper on AliExpress or Temu. So yeah, so this is the Jinhao 10. Again, retractable, just beautiful pens. And this is the Marjan A1. So Marjan Hangdian are pretty much the same company, and also they were called Moonman at one point, I believe. So it just depends what each pen is actually listed as. So yeah, I actually ended up buying another couple of these, and my husband's nicked them because he really likes them. He really likes them as pens. So that's those ones. Okay, so moving away more from the kind of Chinese, Temu, AliExpress kind of pens, and into some more kind of branded ones that you might be more familiar with. So I have 3 Kawecos. I've only got 2 of them here. So these are beautiful little pens. They're great for starter pens. A lot of people start off with these. They're called pocket pens, and basically they are really tiny. However, you just post the end and you've got a full-size pen, and they're beautiful. So this is the Kaweco Sport. So it doesn't come with the clips. You can buy all of the clips separately, so you can then mix and match, choose the clip you want and put them on yourself, which I really like that actually, because you can swap them around. There's gold, there's silver, there's black. So yeah, so I have this one, and this is in a medium, I believe. and this is obviously the green. I do have this exact pen as well in the black colourway, and I have a silver clip on that one, and that one is a 1.1 stub. So yeah, that's quite a thick one. So yeah, there we go, you can see the nib there. And then this one is one of the newer ones that they recently released, just kind of at the end of last year. So this is the piston fill. So the difference with this one is you fill it from this end. So there is this here, and you just literally fill the pen with this piston. This turns, and the mechanism inside the pen moves up and down and fills. So you get a much bigger fill. So let me show you to compare. So these, the one thing about the Kaweco spores is they have got a smaller capacity for ink. Now this one hasn't got it isn't full at the moment. I thought I got a cartridge, but you can put a cartridge, but I have a very little converter, and it is only tiny, obviously, because for it to fit. So you don't get the same capacity for ink, which is fine because it just means you can swap it out more often. It's not a problem. But this one, it is slightly more, so these are more expensive compared to the other ones. So these are around the 75 mark, I believe, and whereas the standard Kaweco is between about 25 and 30 depending on the colourway. So quite a difference, but quite a significant difference in ink. There is an ink window. You can't quite see it on this one, I don't think, because I have got a dark ink in there, so it's kind of... But here there is an ink window, so you can see how much ink is in, and that is quite full. And you can see the piston going up and down as well when you fill it. So yeah, I'm really happy. They do this in their aluminium as well. And they do it in a beautiful kind of olivey green colour, which may be one that I have to add to my collection at some point. But yeah, I really love this. This out of all of them, again, the Kaweco nibs can be a bit hit and miss. My stub does skip a little occasionally. This one I've had no issues with, and this one I've had no issues with. But yeah, my stub nib on my other black one does skip a little. It's nothing too major, you know, you just go back and over your lettering, but yeah, it can be a bit annoying. I know some people have had some issues with the Kaweco nibs, but they are really lovely. Lovely little budget pens. Okay, so that's those. So next ones are my TWSBIs. Now I have 4. TWSBI was actually the very first kind of fountain pen I ever bought years and years and years ago. I had one, and for some reason I just didn't get into it, and just had kind of like just didn't fall down the rabbit hole at that point. But yeah, so I did have one a while ago. I don't know what happened to that actually. I probably gave it away, knowing me. But these are my current collection. So the first one I bought was this one. I absolutely adore it. So this is the Cafe Bronze. And yeah, the colourway obviously is this coffee. So it's part of a collection. There's this one and this one. And the difference is they've got like the rose gold and the bronze hardware on them. So this is the cafe, and as you can see, these are piston fills as well, so it's internal. You just twist this and it sucks the ink up. A lot less messy than using other ones. Beautiful nibs. All of these write amazingly, so they're absolutely gorgeous. So show you the nib there. Absolutely lovely. These are a lot of people's favourite. You can get these right from an extra fine right through to, again, they do a stub nib, a 1.1 stub. These are generally fine and medium. Don't have a stub in these. So that is the Cafe Bronze. This is the cream rose gold. And I don't know if you can see, it's picking it up there. You can see I've got an ink in here. This is a Ferris wheel press ink, and it's called Bookkeeper's Brass. Really hard to get hold of. Some lovely person it's in the fountain pen kind of community sent me a sample, and I absolutely love it. I would love to get a bottle, but I can only actually find it at from Ferris wheel press themselves, and it's fair enough, about £15 for a bottle of ink, but the shipping is £15, so I'm kind of not happy to pay like the same amount in shipping as it is. It's really picking up the shimmer there. That's lovely, but it's beautiful ink. So I've got that in there. And then this was another newish release that they had. This is the emerald with the black onyx hardware. Again, I really love this. I've got I think I've got Evergreen by Diamine in this one. Can't quite tell, obviously it's a dark ink, you can't quite tell. I just love, I've got a thing for greens and browns that you probably will see as we go through. So yeah, love that one as well. And then this one is another one I bought. Now this one I think I need to do some work with the piston. You can see this because I haven't got it filled. You can see how it works. The piston comes up and then you put it down there, and then you put the whole nib in the bottle of ink and just twist it, and it, yeah, pours the ink up. And this one isn't quite sealing right, so I bought this in a D-stash, so you have to really twist that. So I don't know if I need to take this apart and just have a little tweak with it, but I had found that this one was leaking. These ones, again, you can remove the nib units, so you can swap the nibs out with a lot of these. A lot of the TWSBI pens, there we go, show you, it comes off really easy, and the actual nib itself moves and comes off. So I'm just going to put that back in before I lose the nib. So you can, again, these are quite customizable, you know, you can swap the nibs in and out. So there we go, and this is the push and blow with the silver hardware. But yeah, the TWSBIs are like all different colours. They are bringing out a new one in, I think it's next week sometime, just after Valentine's Day, kind of mid-February, and it's a new one in the kind of like the coffee range, and it's called Espresso, and it's a darker brown, so I'm definitely going to be investing in that one. So that's my TWSBIs. Right, so what can I show you next? So I found my most favourite out of every pen that I've bought, that I've tried, is my Esterbrook Estes. Now the first one I bought was this one. Now for me this was a huge investment. I'm absolutely covered in ink, so this was a huge investment for me, because these are around the £180 to £200 mark for these pens, and that was a big deal for me to spend that much on a pen, and I never thought I'd kind of spend anywhere near that. However, I can totally see why. And I have bought a couple more since. I try and get them in D-stash if I can, or when they're on sale, because obviously they are a lot of money to invest in, but I do see these are things I use all the time. It's my main hobby. Obviously, since I've been made redundant, I've had to kind of step back and haven't bought as many. I bought a few with my redundancy money, just so that I'd got a few in my collection that I really wanted. But yeah, kind of now I've had to really step back. But anyway, this is the Esterbrook SD, and this is the Raven. You can imagine what led me to this one, if any of you know me. And this has got the black nib, so this is a medium nib, and this writes amazing. It's so smooth, the ink's really wet and flowy. It's just the best. Again, these converters, you can get these with a piston, but you're gonna add another, like, anything from £50 up to another extra £100 to have these as a piston with the internal fill, and I'm quite happy to just use a converter with them, so that's not a problem at all. These have got a really lovely kind of soft close. You kind of push it in and then twist it. I just adore these pens. These are definitely some of my favourites, and I think if I was to have to recommend, if someone wanted to buy something that was a little bit more expensive, these would definitely be the ones I'd say. So I have the Raven, and then this is another one that I really wanted. This is the Honeycomb. Absolutely beautiful. Again, this has got a medium, but what I did was I've actually swapped the nib out. So this has actually got their Elastico extra fine elastic, so this is a flex nib, and this I bought. Again, these are so easy, you literally just unscrew the nib and swap them over. So this had got a medium nib in, and I bought a couple. Again, I managed to get them in the sale think it was the New Year sale and the Fountain Pen Day sale, and we had Black Friday as well, so there were quite a few sales kind of all together, so I managed to do really well. So I bought the extra nib for this one. So this is the Fine Flex Elastique, and it's got the Esterbrook branding on it. I think you can see that there, and I just love these with the flex nib. They're still fine, but they've got that bit of flex, and it's just beautiful to write with. So I adore these. So that's the honeycomb. I paid about 130 for this in a D-stash. So did get this at a bit less, but obviously it's still quite pricey. And then this is another one that I was looking for. This was a redundancy money purchase. So this is the Winter White. This was quite hard to get hold of. I could only find one place in the UK that had it in stock. And as you can see, it's just this beautiful white. I've got quite a dark ink in it again, so you can probably tell from the barrel there. But it's just beautiful. The reason I put a dark ink is because I wanted to use this kind of like every day, and I just wanted a black ink in there so I can use lots. Again, I bought the flex nib for this as well. The only difference is this is gold colour. They're not gold nibs. They're gold plated, I believe, the gold ones, but they're not gold. They are still steel nibs, even despite the fact that these are more pricey. But these nibs are amazing. These are all so smooth, brilliant writers, definitely my favourites. I adore these pens. This one was about 165. Again, it was in sale, but yeah, it was quite hard to get a hold of because Winter White was a limited edition. I don't know of how many, but there's not so many of them left, so you'll probably be looking at D-stash or just having a look. I got this from a shop in Shrewsbury online called Right Here, which is probably one of my more local fountain pen stores, even though it's not necessarily that local. It's as local as I'm going to get with them. So that's them. So next are these are Retro 51. Now this started because I really wanted this. Now this is called the Pride and Prejudice. Now I absolutely love Jane Austen and kind of like the Bronte sisters and all those kind of classics. I've been a big reader of them for years. I saw this pen, I'm just like, oh, I've got to have that. It's absolutely beautiful. These again are around the 130 mark, so again quite an investment. They come in a beautiful round box and it kind of stand up in them. So when I first ordered this came through. Again, these are beautiful long. I think these are Jawa. I can't pronounce it. Sorry, I'm not even going to try and say it because it's difficult. JOWO nibs, and they're quite long nibs. Again, this I don't know if this is a fine or a medium. I can't quite see. You might actually be able to see it on the camera. I can't. You can see it's got the Retro 51 on there. Absolutely beautiful. I've got my Mont Blanc Jane Austen ink in here as well, and that's the only combination of ink that I'll ever use in this one, because if you've got your Pride and Prejudice pen, you've got to put Jane Austen ink in it, haven't you, really? I mean, what else could you put in there? So this is kind of what started. I bought this and thought, oh, just beautiful, and it's metal, beautiful pen. As I say, the nibs on these are gorgeous. And then I ordered this one because I've also got a thing for William Morris kind of patterns and stuff, and absolutely love it. And I saw that they did this one, so me as ever, these were all bought before I was made redundant as well, while I was still working. Again, they've got these really large. Now this is a 1.9 stub, so you can see from this is a massive stub nib. So this only gets used kind of for doing really kind of titles and things. I don't actually use this much, but I've got a beautiful sheening ink in it which I adore, and it just looks gorgeous with this nib. So yeah, but when I ordered this, they accidentally sent me the wrong pen, and they actually sent me this one, and at the time I sent it back and they sent me the correct one the next day, which is completely fine. I got it from a company called Man Ink. This is actually from the Mess, I believe, which in museum in America somewhere. So yeah, so that's the William Morris. They sent me the wrong one, and then afterwards I saw, so this one's War of the Roses, and this was on offer for fountain pen day, and it was on offer at something like 80 or 90. It was under 100 anyway, whereas I'd paid kind of like 130ish for these two. So it was like a proper bargain. So I kind of had to, and I had seen it because I'd obviously seen the one that they sent me by accident. So again, lovely long nib. This one's a fine, I believe. This one isn't actually inked up at the minute because I just can't decide what colour ink to put in it. So still kind of ongoing. I have used it, I've dipped it and I've tried it, but I haven't actually inked that up yet. But yeah, just beautiful thing to have, and these are very much collectible. And obviously Retro 51, they do lots of different kind of designs and stuff. These are all metal. They're really lovely quality pens as well. So I also then got a couple of Benu pens. Now this one, super sparkly. So this one actually glows in the dark. So you see these end bits very much kind of like that glowy green. So this, it does glow in the dark. I haven't actually tried it, but yeah, it's called the Amber Glow or something like that, I believe. Lovely. This is a broad nib. So quite a nice chunky juicy one, really great for kind of shimmer inks and things like that, because it really goes with the glitter in the pen as well. So really lovely. Not one I use loads, but I just love having in my collection. I do love these Benu pens. They're just so beautiful, really lovely. These are resins, I believe, with the different glitters, and Benu do lots of different things where there's all kind of different things that they put in the resin and things like that. So yeah, I bought this in a D-stash. I think I paid about £90 for this one. Again, they are kind of more to buy, and some of them are quite tricky to get hold of, but they're a really nice pen. This is a Briolette, I believe, or is it Euphoria? No, I think this is the Euphoria. Apologies. So I have that one, and then this was a big splurge. So this is probably one of my most expensive pens. So this cost me £200, but there's a specific reason. I mean, if you look at it, this is called the Samhain pen. This was released at Halloween at Samhain as a special. It's all hand painted. Each one of them is slightly different, and as you can see, if you know me, see the raven at the top, and then it's got the pumpkins and the leaves and the ram's head, and it's pretty much me in a pen. And yeah, I actually bought it kind of paying three. I guess I was desperately wanted it. And the extra special thing about this is it is a limited edition of only 50. So there's only 50 of these worldwide. It is numbered. I believe, I can't remember what my number is, and I can't quite see it, but it is numbered on here. You might actually, the camera might be picking it up, and I'm just going past it because I can't see with my eyes. A rubbish, but yeah, again, oh, I had a bit of a splodge there. Beautiful, beautiful pen, lovely nib, covered in ink at the minute, but absolutely gorgeous. Not one I use every day. Just love the grey speckle. This is definitely a collector one I want to have, and because it being limited as well. I think it's something like number 16 if I remember rightly. I did contact them actually and ask if they got number 13, if I could have that one if they got it, but they couldn't guarantee that. But yeah, love this one, and yeah, it was a big splurge, but it was also my birthday, so it's kind of like a treat to myself as well. Definitely a pen I would never kind of sell on. So again, with my redundancy, there were a couple more pens that I kind of just wanted a version of. So this is a Visconti. So this again was around the 130, 150 mark. This is the Visconti. Now am I going to get it right? 1 second, and let me tell you exactly what that model is. So I always forget the name of that one. So bear with me. I've got a list of all my pens and what they're inked with, and you watch, it's not going to be on here now. It's the Visconti Mirage, and it's in the way. The name of the resin is Horn, and it's this beautiful grey. I absolutely adore this, I think it's gorgeous. Typical Visconti kind of clip. Obviously some of the Visconti pens, they're Italian, they go up to hundreds, thousands of pounds. This is one of the lower end ones, and it's all I could manage to really afford, but I just wanted to have a Visconti in my collection, and I absolutely love this one. And again, it is an absolutely beautiful writer. Steel nib, not a gold nib, but absolutely beautiful. No hard starts. I've got Edelstein Moonstone in here, which just fits really beautiful because it's a lovely kind of grey tone, and yeah, beautiful. So I then again picked up, this is a Narwhal or a Narwhal, whichever you want to kind of say. I think they changed the name and changed the spelling. This again is like the TWSBI. It's got that piston fill at the end. Actually, this might be the, is it a button one? Oh, yeah. So you actually pull this out completely, and then you put it in the ink and press it down, and it pumps it up. It's what's known as a piston. No, not a piston. A piston is like what the TWSBI is. What's this? It's like a button fill. Yeah. I'm sure you're all fountain pen experts out there. You've got to remember, I am still quite at the start of my journey, so don't know exactly loads about, but this is a beautiful, beautiful purple. I've got Lamy Dark Violet in here, and it is just the perfect mix for it. Lovely pen, kind of mid-range kind of pen price wise. I think these are about between 30, 50, 60 pounds, but really, really lovely pens for the price. Really heavy, well made, really well closing caps, just really lovely, absolutely gorgeous. And if you like your purples, it's particularly lovely. That's going to drive me mad. It's not a piston, they're a piston. I will come up with it at some point. I'll come into another video and I'll go, remember, I couldn't remember what that was called. Oh, here's my other Kaweco, actually. Yeah, so this is my stub nib Kaweco. I didn't think I'd got it here, but I do. So that's my other Kaweco. This is the stub nib. Let me show you, because it is quite a chunky stub there. And this has got the converter ring, so I can show you that. So this is what I meant by the Kaweco converter. They are quite little. So you can see there, it's quite a little converter compared to most. But, you know, you still get a decent amount of ink in it, really. So, yeah. Again, you have to buy those generally separate. The Kawecos tend to come with a cartridge that's included, and then you can buy the converter. Obviously, the reason I picked the silver clip, did buy that separate, was because it's got the silver writing, and it's got a silver finial as well. So, made sense. Right, so this is another one that I bought, again, redundancy treat. This is a Leonardo. This is one of the other brands that I just wanted to have in my collection. So this is a Leonardo Memento Zero. Absolutely lovely pens. I would definitely buy more than these if ever I had the chance. Again, with this one, I've managed to get this with the flex nib. So this is the Elastico. Again, I did buy that separate. I bought this from, just trying to think what, I think it was Art from the Heart, it may have been that I had this from. So, and they sold the extra nib, so it came with a medium nib and I bought the extra nib, so I've got the choice and I can swap them in and out, which is always nice to have as well. I love that concept. Again, so easy, you just literally twist it and it comes out. And this is the jade, and it does look like proper jade. I believe these are resin as well. And it's again a converter, comes with a really nice looking Leonardo branded converter, very smart looking. You can tell that just extra bit of quality. I think this was around the 160 mark. God, it's so, when you're kind of going through them all and kind of saying how much it all costs, it feels quite shocking with some of them sometimes, but again, they are, to me, I see them as investments. These are only going to increase in value over time, as I find with the vintage pens that I've got as well. So that's my Leonardo. So what else have we got? Let's have a look. So I'll just bring this over. So I've shown you, sorry, everything's falling on me now. There we go. So I've shown you this one. This is the Jinhao and the Mahjons. So this is another one which is quite a popular pen at the minute. This is the VFM version of the Shaeffer coffee edition. Again, very popular because it's got the coffee. I have actually got this engraved with my name. Let's see if I can pick it up on there. Don't know if it might be backwards or upside down. Not quite sure. This is a lovely pen. It's classic Shaeffer. Lovely nib, lovely fine nib, beautiful. I've got KWZ Smells Like Coffee in here, which is a coffee scented ink, which, oh, I just love it. I've also got that in my TWSBI cafe bronze as well, and just when you're writing with it, you just get that lovely smell of coffee. I love it. It's one of my favourite inks. So yeah, that's a really nice pen. This was around the 30 mark. There's a squared version, which is more kind of this sort of shape version of it as well, and that's around the 50-60 pound mark. But I particularly like this. It's what they call like a bullet shape, but I do really like that. There is a little coffee cup on it somewhere, but it's really, really faint. There it is, just there, right on the tip. And yeah, the other one's got a coffee bean on it, I think, and then a coffee cup on the top, but that could be wrong, I'm not sure. This one I bought, I'm not quite sure the model. It's a Jinhao. I bought this because it's a Fude nib. Now, if you don't know what a Fude nib is, it's kind of like based on kind of like Chinese, Japanese brush lettering brushes, and it's got a bend on the thing, so you get more of like a brush. I don't really like it. The pen itself is really, really chunky and fat, which is nice, I suppose, if you're kind of using it with the thought of like being brush. It's nice to have, and it's there as an option. So like if doing any swatching, it'd be nice as a dip pen for swatching, but it's not my favourite, although it is a beautiful purple and it does look gorgeous. It's a lovely looking pen, but for actual writing with, it's not something that I particularly use. But again, nice to have in the collection. And then what I've got is a few vintage pens. So I have two of these. These are not so much vintage. These are Parkers. These Parker Vectors. So these are, you know, quite classic, kind of 80s, 90s, kind of what I'd say like a school pen that you could have used then. The reason I love these is, one, is a medium, but this is actually an italic fine nib. Now, to get a proper italic nib is unusual, unless you go and have a nib grind. But to get a fine italic, again, you have to have a nib grind. So finding it already on the pen, and I love the way this writes. It's just beautiful. It's not the prettiest of all my pens, but it's practical. The only thing I think about this is it is a bit light and quite thin compared to most of my pens. I'm not quite used to that, but the italic on the nib properly makes up for it. I haven't got anything in that at the moment. I need to ink that up again. Hubby's recently cleaned it out for me, so yeah, love that. And I've also got this exact same pen again. It came in a set, and the other one's just a medium nib. So yep. And then in addition to that, I have these, which again, these are Parker IMs. Yeah. And these are lovely, lovely pens. Again, really nice nibs. This didn't actually come with a black nib. I'd got another one, and again, I've just swapped the nib around because I just love this black nib. And I've got an ink called Dracula by Wearingal in this, because I've got that bit of red on the top, and it just absolutely works beautifully with this pen. And that again, black nib, for some reason it writes amazingly. It's just such a beautiful smooth nib. If anybody out there is a bit of an expert on fountain pens and knows why the black nibs in particular seem to write so well, you can give me a shout and let me know. And then I've got a few vintage pens now. I've got a couple of others that aren't actually here with my collection that I bought recently at auction that still need a little bit of work. Actually, one of them is a set. I've got them here actually. I've got that. So this is a beautiful. Have I got the pencil as well? Don't think I've got the pencil. So this is a little platinum petite set, and I got this in a bulk set of at an auction. It's an old style lever fill, which inside there's a bladder, and when you pull on the lever it squishes the bladder and then pulls the ink in. So cute. Look how tiny this nib is. It is so sweet. So this is like the old so this is Platignum with the G, not platinum. You'll see if you see it written down, it's completely different. And this came with a matching propelling pencil as well, which I think I've got in a different pencil case. But they both work beautifully. There were leads with the other one, and it's just gorgeous. This came, like I say, I think it was about, there was this and two other pens, vintage pens. I got them as a lot for about £40, which was a complete bargain. So I was really chuffed with that. And then I also got a Waterman in an auction, which needs a little bit of work, and I'll show that in the future. And then another one which is called an Eero. Again, that was a piston fill, and that's a German pen, and that's just really lovely. But I just, yeah, I haven't got it here. So this was the first vintage pen I bought. So this is a Shaeffer Mark II, I think it is, or a Mark 1, Mark something. And this has got a beautiful kind of hooded nib. This is a gold nib, 18 karat gold nib in fact. Let me move that out of the way so I've got a better background. And this writes beautifully. This has got a bladder as well, so I can show you. So this is a bladder fill, but it doesn't have a lever. So this is a bladder. It's kind of an old silicone rubber kind of bladder, and you just put it in the ink and you squeeze it. Excuse me. You squeeze that to fill. So for anybody that hasn't seen that kind of fill. Again, doesn't have a huge ink capacity. It's only quite small, especially compared to the barrel size. But I would imagine if you wanted to, you could convert these and remove the bladder and use them as cartridge. I don't know if it'd have the bit in the nib to take a cartridge. You could probably put a converter in, I'm not sure. But I was lucky enough. This was a buy from Marketplace, and yeah, beautiful Shaeffer vintage pen. And as I said, it writes gorgeously. Lovely fine nib, and it's fabulous. Then via the Fountain Pen UK group, there's somebody on there, really lovely, sells lots of vintage pens as part of a collection that they have got of their own, and that they received off different people. And they were selling a few, and they got the years on them. And I'd got my birthday coming up in October. I was 50, and I wanted something to really commemorate that. My husband wanted to buy me something quite special, and it was also our silver wedding anniversary. So he bought me a beautiful silver inkwell, which is just gorgeous, but kind of wanted a pen to go with it as well. And I contacted this seller and asked them if they got a 1974 pen, and yeah, they totally had. So this is a lady, Namiki, Pilot Namiki lady, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it just happened that it's from 1974, which is the year I was born, and just a few months off when I was born as well. I think this is August, I was born in the October, and yeah, it came boxed and everything. It's just beautiful. And again, you can see that nib is so fine. It's a gold nib. Pretty sure it's 14 carat, might even be 18 carat, this one actually. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I was super chuffed for this. This was only £45 as well. Some of these vintage pens with the gold nibs, honestly, they're so worth getting hold of. As I said before, I think the vintage gold nibs, if you can get one that's good condition, that writes well, even if not, you could use them as dip pens, and the nibs are still perfectly beautiful, even if your filling system's not, you know, up to scratch. This is actually a converter, a fixed converter, or a cartridge, so no faff in there, so it's absolutely gorgeous. Isn't inked up at the minute, but just a beautiful, beautiful pen. And then I think last but not least, my other vintage one. So this is yeah, really special. So this is a piston. It's got a twisty. So this is a Mont Blanc. This is the only Mont Blanc that I own. It's a vintage Mont Blanc. So this is the Monte Rosa. So this is kind of like a precursor apparently to the 149. The only thing that really, well, it doesn't annoy me, but just feels a little bit about this, it doesn't have the Mont Blanc star on it, because this predates that. So this is around from the 1950s, 60s, I believe, but it has got the Mont Blanc Monte Rosa, and there's a little bit of the original chalk left on there as well. So previous to them adding the white star as their kind of like trademark, they had the scallop around the edge of the thing, so this kind of predates the other ones. And this was kind of like their school pen version, so this was like their more of their kind of a basic kind of one for the time, but oh my days, this writes beautifully. Also, it's got an ink window, which you can just about, I don't know if it's picking it up the way the light is, but there is an ink window here. The nib is gorgeous. It is a gold nib, I believe 14 karat gold, two-tone. Has some ink on it because I do have this inked up, but this is an oblique, supposedly broad, I believe. It's an oblique broad, but it doesn't write very, very broad. But again, this is like the Parker that I have that's got the italic. The nib on this is quite rare, quite unusual, and it absolutely writes beautifully. This is such a gorgeous pen. This was 140, which if any of you know Mont Blanc, you'll know that is an absolute steal. However, these Monte Rosas do go for between like the 140 to kind of like £200 mark, but this is a particularly lovely one, mainly because it's got that unusual nib as well. So this was Christmas present from a hubby again. Absolutely adore it. It's beautiful. I am trying at the minute to kind of save some money because I would like a vintage 149, and I keep seeing them in auction, and they just tend to go for around between 150 and 190, which again for a 149 Mont Blanc is amazing, but I haven't managed to catch one yet that's fully kind of fits. So yeah, so I've got a few other bits and bobs around. Like I bought this recently. This again is just like a little tiny mini pen. This is an eyedropper, so basically this whole thing fills with ink. I'm not going to open it because it'll go everywhere. You literally unscrew the top and fill the top. Again, this was on Temu, but it's just a beautiful little thing, really sweet and unusual. Super cheap, couple of pounds, next to nothing. So you know, there are little things like this if you want to get started, you want to have a go. The nib on this is amazing. So if you want to try a fountain pen, this would be a great start. It's really lovely. Obviously when you put it together, pretty much normal size pen. Really great start. Like I say, it's a couple of pounds, amazing nib, looks great, huge ink capacity for the size of the pen, couple of pounds, you know, nothing to lose really. Lots of different colourways. This is sparkly purple. I have actually put like a red ink in here. It's like a reddy burgundy kind of colour, which is called Bar Humbug, and it's again sparkly but just great. So obviously there's lots of options. If you want me to look at any in particular, want me to do any comparisons or what have you, please do ask, pop in the comments below. But hope you've enjoyed the first video back. Very much enjoyed kind of showing you my collection, very excited. Sorry if I waffled a bit. I think I got through all of them okay. So, but yeah, hope you're all well and happy inking, and I will be back with some ink swatches, some journaling, some currently inked, and kind of showing you the inks and the pens and how they write as well. So take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye bye.